Yep, that's it.
Okay, cool. So, I think then it's time to move over to our main topic. Or should we do our
Should I talk Cyberpunk
let's
first?
talk Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk?
Because that won't go nearly as long as Mando. You guys have both played Cyberpunk 2077, and we've had a number of weeks now with it. So, you want to give us a little bit of a review for us?
You can go first.
Yeah, I'll just talk very briefly, and try not to rant too long. So I've probably spent 4-ish, maybe 5 hours with it.
Luke's face. Like, son, you ain't even played this game.
No, I haven't. That's where I was going.
Okay.
You've done the heist. That's it.
I've done a little bit more than that. So maybe more than 4 hours. I don't know. I'm far enough into it where it's just my own world. I can go do whatever I want. It's a good game. It's obviously got some bug issues, which I don't really need to go into. I think the internet's done a good enough job of that. It does something that really bothers me in games, but it does it so well that I enjoy it in this one, and that's the dialogue. I think the dialogue scenes where you're talking to people it's like watching a movie.
Oh, yeah.
And it never really feels like you know how when you talk to an NPC and it like pulls you in to the conversation? In this game, like the conversation just feels like it's part of everything you're already doing. Like you're just like, oh, you can like walk around the room and the scene will still play out and you can move around and kind of look at whatever you want. And I think that's really cool. It makes it feel a little bit more immersive.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to enjoy something that I typically hate in video games. Other than that, the problem I'm having is the pull to playing that more is just really not there for me right now. And I can't really explain why. I think part of me wants to wait for the upgrade, like the upscaling.
Next gen optimization.
Right. Like because I think the game looks fine. I mean it'll look better obviously when they optimize it, but I just know that if I beat this game now, I won't play it when they optimize it. I'll have no reason to come back to it, because I don't think it's a game that I will beat multiple times in the 3 different storylines or whatever. I just don't think I'll do it. But I mean, if I had to give an early impression rating, I would give it a Matthew McConaughey. I think it's got a lot of really cool stuff, but I think it's just. It's hard to really want to rate this when one, I haven't played enough of it, and 2, there's just so many problems.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to come back and have a conversation in 6 months
whenever the optimization
happens, and I get it, and you hop back in.
Yeah, I think I'm curious to see what it looks like later in the year.
Luke, you've played a lot more of it.
Yeah, I've played about 50 hours.
Okay, tell us what you think.
I'm really, really enjoying it. That being said, there are numerous problems with it. Number one being the fact that it shouldn't be out yet.
Yeah.
There's like a whole scandal with this game now.
Yeah.
They're being sued by the other partners and people who bought it. I kind of stopped paying attention to it.
There's like class action
all I was seeing,
and stuff. Yeah.
And the fact that I can't get past the fact, first of all, it's clearly made for PC.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly made for PC.
Yep.
I see videos of people playing on PC and I'm like, that looks really good. And then I play mine and it doesn't look better than Last of Us 2 or Red Dead or Horizon. I mean, they're different art styles and it's a way bigger game than something like Horizon, but still, like, sometimes faces are just, like, kind of mushy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look great.
Mm-hmm.
I was just playing this weekend again, and sometimes dialogue isn't coming through, but then my line will come through, and then theirs will come through, and I'll have to read the subtitles. There'll be times when there's a dude who was pointing a gun at me, and the gun hadn't loaded into the game.
Oh,
so
no.
He's just... And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Have you had the bug where, like, you'll be in a dialogue conversation, and you'll click on something, and they'll respond, and they'll just keep saying it?
Mm-mm.
Have you had that happen?
I haven't had that happen.
Oh my gosh. The dude just kept saying the same. Jackie would say like the same line over and over and over and over again. I'm like, what is happening?
My favorite bug that's probably happened is when I'm driving, and I'll be going, I guess, a little fast, and I'll hit a bump, and I'll just. I launched myself up a bridge and died, man. It was crazy. So I mean, the bugs are kind of a pro and a con. Sometimes they're so funny that it's like, please don't take that out. But the game shouldn't be out yet. We knew next generation consoles are coming. It should have been, we need to make the game for these consoles, and they need to be ready for these consoles. Now I'm playing an Xbox One version of the game on a on a PC, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. That being said, I still have a lot of fun playing it. You mentioned the dialogue. I think the writing is so good. And I think good writing can make a bad video game good. Because the gameplay in the game is mediocre. But I'm so invested in the character I've created and the people I've helped in this world and what's happening to me. And Keanu Reeves, Johnny Silverhand, is talking to me, and I'm like, I actually care what he's going to say. And sometimes I'm like, heck, no, I disagree with that. Or I'll be like, you know what, I'm actually going to do what you say because you might be onto something here. And I feel like my decisions are really impacting the game, which is something that's really, really cool. And I'm really curious what ending I'm going to get because I feel like my character is all over the place. Yeah, story, writing, characters. My character, I made a female. I always make females, which was very awkward to do in this game, I gotta say. But I'm in the Corpo storyline. There's Corpo, Nomad, and Street Kid. So I grew up in the towers. I was in the business world, and then I got kicked to the street because I was like their guinea pig. I got blamed for something, and now I'm a merc.
Yeah.
I'm kicking butt out there. And I gotta say, I don't know really what happens with the other two, but if you don't know which one to pick, I would highly recommend Corpo. I think it's a great storyline, and the dialogue options that are corporation specific are so cool.
We had talked about that a little bit.
There's a mission where this military lady is like, hey, yeah, I'll help you steal this thing. Here, take this money and pay for it, but I want the intel that you're going to get from it. And being from the Corpo side, I said, and it was like a specific option. You probably didn't get to see it.
I didn't have it, but I have another one that I don't know if you have.
I was like, I know this is bugged. You're going to get me killed. I'm not going to use this. And she's like, fine, do whatever you want. I hacked into the card, and I guess I did it too early. I could have gotten 10,000 eddies money, but I did it at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Which is, god darn it.
And mine, where mine probably differed from yours is in that same, I would say, story of that whole mission, you go and meet somebody to pick something up, and it's a robot. And when you're doing that, the guy tries to offer you drugs, and I chose the Street Kid, because I thought it was just a super weird choice. But where Luke had the option with the person trying to basically bug him, I had the option when they offered me drugs to kind of like interrogate that guy and be like, dude, what are you offering me?
Yeah.
And like kind of tell him like, no, I know exactly what you're doing, and kind of in the same way.
I just straight up was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, and like I was able to figure out what it was he had and find out more about that operation as a whole and how it would benefit me to get through that scenario, because it's a pretty big set piece. It's really cool how they did that, and they make every life path matter.
Yeah, which is really nice.
It's really impressive.
Like if you pick a Nord in Skyrim, it's kind of like, oh, they'll reference to you that you're a Nord, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
Where this is like, there's so many ways to play this game, and it is so cool. Like my build of my character is obviously Corpo, but I started off kind of putting my stuff into increasing my gunplay, Gunplay sucks in this game. There's no aim assist.
Yeah,
It's
there's
really
no aim
bad.
assist.
So I was like, all right, I think I got that high enough. And now I throw everything into intelligence and technical. So I'm just net running people. And I have not used a gun in probably the last 15 hours I've been playing. I just hack into people's heads and I just smoke them from the inside.
Did you make them shoot themselves?
No, I just like melt their brain.
Oh, okay. I've seen people like make.
I don't think I have that power yet. That power. But like, especially since I didn't pick the cool, which is one of the aspects you can put perks into or whatever, is your stealth.
Mm-hmm.
I have really low stealth, but I can just hack into a camera and attack people through that. It's super cool.
Yeah.
You can put your stuff into melee attacks, so you run in, you have tons of health, and you just punch and sword people all over the place.
Yeah.
I might have to do that because I mean I'm a Titan main and I gotta punch people. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. The other great thing they did was just Night City. Surrounding areas is just an amazing city they made. It's alive. I mean, not everything might load in correctly sometimes. That's okay.
You might hit something.
I'll give a
that's
little
not
bit of
there.
slack because it is so big. It takes a long time to get across the city. And the crazy thing is, I would rather drive than fast travel.
I have not fast traveled one time.
That's pretty cool that the
Yeah.
world is.
I've literally never fast traveled.
I have the sexiest Lamborghini. And I throw that thing, depending on the time of day and what the weather is like, I either put it on the Pacific Dreams radio or the Jazz radio. If it's nighttime or if it's raining, it's Jazz, baby. Daytime, I've killed a lot of people driving too fast, which is kind of awkward because they're like, "You're wanted," and I just drive away and it goes away.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ran someone over sitting in one of those plastic chairs.
I hit a bump on my motorcycle and just boom right into some lady and just crushed her against the wall. And it's just like,
Oops.
oh, that was an accident.
I ran over someone sitting in a chair and it's like, "You're wanted," and I was like, reverse, gotta go. See you later. I won't be here when they get here.
Yeah.
Luke, real quick.
Yeah. What's up?
Deeds wants to know over in the chat. He says, the question is, who are you romancing?
Everybody. I don't know.
There is a pretty, I mean, like
it's
you've
pretty
said,
specific choices depending on the gender in your game.
there's
and
lots of
what their
option, right?
sexual identity is. Like, I think there's a different choice for each one.
Sure.
We'll see what happens. I probably might have picked some wrong dialogue options. But just, it's an incredible world. I will definitely go in and play on Street Kid and Nomad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really like playing RPGs and diving into worlds, and I'm sure there's a bunch of side quests that I haven't found yet just because I'm not a nomad. However, oh, actually, one more pro. The freaking score is so good. I've been listening to it a lot over the past couple weeks. And not only the score, but the in-game music, which they had artists make, and the radio music is all really, really good. There is some moments where the tension is just through the roof because the soundtrack is just messing with me. I don't know if they put in some of those secret bass lines or whatever that make people nervous.
They give you the brown note.
Not yet. Yeah, I kind of talked about how bad the gunplay is. There's no aim assist. It's awful.
Yeah.
Again, built for PC, probably.
Yeah. And I mean,
People feel really spongy too.
yeah, it's when you first start and you're shooting a dude.
Yeah, and you don't have a ton of ammo.
It takes like 3 clips, and I'm using a pistol. It's like, I get I'm augmented by robotics, but geez Louise, are we kidding?
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
Melee combat I never did.
I only did it in the tutorial stuff. Did you
Yeah.
do the advanced tutorial as well?
I don't remember.
I did every tutorial thing it offered. I was
I
like, I'm gonna do all of these.
I think I did.
Yeah, that was the only time I did the melee stuff.
I mean, you're supposed to design a build around it. I'm sure if I put all of my perk points into handling or strength or toughness or whatever it is, it'd work a lot better.
Yeah.
But the last kind of thing is just a problem I've had with sci-fi for like the last 5 years. And it's just, why is everything so surrounded by sex?
Mm.
Not every, 9 out of 10 of the shops that are in Night City are sex shops or ads. And it's like, are we not creative enough to think of a drugstore or a restaurant?
Yeah.
Because you can buy burritos at vending machines. That's about it that
Yeah.
I've seen.
It's like, I don't even need to go into the store. It's just every sign
Yeah.
is XXX. Mr. Stud. It's like, get your groceries here. Wow. That was so hard to design. I mean, like, that's been like the trend. Like, Altered Carbon is all about that. Even not as much, but Blade Runner is even kind of that. It's just been this sci-fi trope that is just really aggravating. It's like, the future is dark and bleak and oh so sexual.
Yeah.
It's just such a lack of creativity, and it kind of also leads into just I think it's the worst bug. Sometimes your clothes aren't on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Like if you're, like I've experienced, like when you're in a cutscene or something, and like your dude will look, you'll see just like I made a guy, so I'll see this dong just kind of hanging out, and you're like,
gosh.
"Where's pants that I put on?"
Yeah.
And then you go to
Or
your
like-
menu and you have your pants on, and you're like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
or
okay."
even just like I'm in my menu and it's like, oh, I'm gonna switch up this jacket because it's better armor, and you put it on and it's just gone, and it's like, no, that's less armor actually. So they need to get that bug under control. That kind of goes into my rating. I give it a fanboy worthy. I think RPG fans will have a lot of fun, especially once they either have a new console and it's optimized for Xbox Series X and PS5. I think it is really actually going to be super good.
Once it's optimized.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of
but-
what I'm waiting for.
I don't know who all listens to this, but if your kid is going, Mom, I want to play Cyberpunk, I would say no. It's got a lot in it.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. But I mean, they created their world. That's what they went for, I guess, and power to them. That. Cool, but yeah, I get a fanboy worthy. I remember like when I first saw this trailer, I was like, "Ooh, this could be my favorite game ever if they do this right." Unfortunately, they didn't do it right. There's way too many problems with it.
Yeah. Well, I'm still excited to check it out eventually down the line when some of those things have been fixed. And yeah, no, I think that's a very helpful review. Thank you, Luke.
Glad I could help.